get over here. The wind's blowing too hard, dude. I can't hit anything with this.
Where are they at?
They're over the berm. What gun is that?
Same one as you, dude.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The Palmetto State Armory Krink. Guys, it's finally here. Welcome to the first ever review on YouTube about the Palmetto State Armory Krink. Just kidding. There's like 6,000 of them already out, and this review will probably be no different than the others. So thank you for choosing to watch my video on top of the other 20 that you've already seen. Why is everyone reviewing the PSA Krink? It's probably because everybody loves the Krink. There's like, if you don't love the Krink, then there's something wrong with you. We're not here to have things make sense. We're here to justify you spending money on a Krink that you absolutely don't need. Now, obviously, you know, an AR in 10 inches probably will serve you better than an 8-inch 5.56 in an AK platform. This thing got so hot I couldn't even hold the handguard. You just click on. This is the first video I've ever done where I had to use a little fan butt plug to cool my gun down to continue filming. Now I'm obviously running suppressed. I've got the Resilient Suppressors Putnik. Why do we have the world's largest, chodiest suppressor on this gun? Mostly because it looks cool. This probably serves a lot better purpose on like a 30 cal AK, like a 7.62 39 AK, but I mean, there's just something about a disproportionately large front end that really gets me going. We also have the brake that made this channel famous, the Braco. We have the Braco brake over there. Should we just put the Braco? Let's, guys, I'm really excited to talk about the Krink. And so I'm getting way ahead of myself, forgetting my sponsors. My sponsors are getting ready to drop me. We have to talk about OpticsPlanet. OpticsPlanet supplying you with a new coupon code. We changed it. It's not Micah 7 anymore. It's for real. And not for real as in like FORREAL, but like FRFR. It's on the screen. If you can't figure it out, you don't deserve the 7% discount that it offers. Second sponsor of the channel, Shooting Surplus. Shooting Surplus been around since the beginning, guys. Best in the biz. Some of my favorite people. Louisiana sucks, but Shooting Surplus doesn't. So get over there, get yourself everything you need, and send them loves in the order comments. And also been there since the beginning, Americana Pipedream Apparel, third sponsor of the video. Flectar knives, Omani DPM, guys, they have everything you want. All the Milsurp gear that everyone else can't get. They have Milsurp gear that even foreign governments call them about and go, how did you get this Milsurp gear? Anyway, head over there, use the coupon code BUSSIN. Every last ounce of, spoiler alert, 5.56, that's, supplied by LastShot out of Arizona. Francis runs that place over there. Best in the biz. Get your ammo over there. Send them love. Use the coupon code PLUG and get yourself some ammo. Go train, guys, because training is cool. But are you really going to be training with a Krink? I mean, like, real talk, who is buying a Palmetto State Armory Krink, an 8-inch 5.56, and just absolutely going to war with this? I feel like there's already, like, okay, getting into the review. The Braco is the first video that I really ever took serious on this channel. This is the Zenitco brake, okay? The Zeneco brake, the DTK2 or something, I'll put the description in the... Palmetto State Armory decided to clone this brake. That is the... I had a real Zeneco brake on my Draco, but this one is the Palmetto State Armory recreation. Let me take off this Resilient Suppressors Putnik. I think the Putnik is also an imitation Zeneco suppressor. If you know anything about this channel, you already know that just putting obnoxious brakes on short-barreled rifles is my shtick, right? And if anybody loves it as much as I do, it's 9-hole reviews. Send that guy some love, comment on his channel, hey, we heard you love 2-chamber brakes on short-barreled rifles. The one downside about the Krink, I'm just gonna say it right away, is the little detent that holds the brake in place. It always is just a little bit off-centered. Now, to justify that in my brain as to why it still works is I just say it's like the Surefire War Comp. It totally times it for right or left-handed shooters. It probably doesn't. It probably totally throws the gun left or right, but if you're not just buying a Krink to have fun with anyway, then what are you really doing? Let's just, let's see the lack thereof recoil. Cameraman Dan, I'm already like really sorry at the concussion this is gonna throw your way. Oh, God. It's so awful.
Dude,
it's
rough.
It's so awful. From a shooter's perspective, to be honest, it kind of rattles your brain. It kind of just sends shockwaves into your soul. As far as recoil goes, I feel like I won't miss this steel at all. And I didn't. So if you are interested in having the world's most obnoxious gun, I know back in like 2000, probably 18, there was a big argument online about like, why would I use a suppressor for home defense? I want to use the world's loudest brake and intimidate the home intruder. Look, this is probably it. Do you not have ears on?
I wasn't wearing them.
Even with Ear Pro, this thing's obnoxious. It's not good. I highly advise, honestly, just running the booster. I'm curious as to how the mic's even gonna pick that up. The booster the gun comes with is more than enough. I think I actually have it. I actually didn't. So the next best thing is the Resilient Suppressors Putnik. We're gonna do a recoil comparison and see if that thing's worth it, like at all. It's really probably not. I missed one. Yep, seat brake wins. This review is pretty much over. Go ahead, buy yourself the brake, get yourself a Krink, and that's all you need to know. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't shot too many Russian or Arsenal, Bulgarian Krinks in my day. I used to own a 5.56 Arsenal Krink. I sold it because the accuracy was like no joke 8 MOA. I don't know if this is any better or worse. I'm not really gonna accuracy test it because I think what I did wrong was assume that buying an 8-inch 5.56 AK platformed rifle should be like a combat gun. I think I was wrong. I think you should just buy an AR-15 and be an American. I'm not gonna be doing a like Jim Fuller or any crazy deep dive internals. I'll be honest, I'm just not educated enough to know what I'm looking for. I would look in here and be like, that surface is kind of shiny. At the end of the day, I've probably put 300-ish on this before filming and probably, I don't know, 300?
Give or take.
Should we just shoot it with the dust cover open for no reason?
Yeah. I love how you're trying to get a sight picture.
Guy, so, all right, let's just see. Is there any way to actually hit the target? Let's just. That intuition of immediately turning the safety on, but there's no dust cover, so it just, anyway. Yeah, I don't think it was meant to do that, guys, so don't do that. Let's get a little bit more serious with this review. As far as the wood and the finish and the clone-esque aspect of it goes, I think Palmetto State Armory actually did a fantastic job. A lot of people on the internet I think a lot of uneducated people on the internet looked at the handguard. They saw like the little slit and these weird cutouts and the spring dealio, and they were like, dude, PSA, like for real? That's a joke of a handguard. That's crazy. Why would you do that? You guys have no idea what you're doing. They could probably recreate the AS Val in 300 Blackout and still catch hate. Most of those guys I would probably just ignore, but the handguard's actually a very good recreation of what the actual Krink handguard is. It looks pretty much just like that. I'm not sure about the finish. The finish is kind of subjective. I know there's a lot of people out there who stain their own handguards and like certain colors and, you know, Bakelite or non-Bakelite grips. So as far as the finish goes, it looks good. It's nice and glossy. It's very slick and slippery. Unlike AK-47s, AKMs, all those, where they have the little diamond cutouts in between the handguards, the Krink does not have any ventilation inside the handguard. So this thing gets stupid hot, stupid quick. We had to put that fan in there, or else we would have been waiting for so long for this thing to cool down. As far as the trigger goes, it's not great. Clear. So trigger, boom, boom, boom. Already kind of heavy, a little gritty. There's no wall. Actually, I didn't hit a wall at all. Let's try and go even a little slower. No. So there's no wall. It's a rolling break. A rolling break means the trigger doesn't really come to a complete stop before it breaks into place. Funny enough, though, I'm like oddly fast on unusual triggers, so I ended up getting some pretty spicy splits on this thing. That wasn't very fast, was it?
No.
Take my word for it. I shot it fast. The best way to describe it is like hella mid. It's mid. It's a rolling break AK trigger with a really, really, really curvy shoe. At least it lines up with your hand well enough to be, you know, comfortable. I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just a trigger that makes the gun go bang. Now, most of the mags I was using were these Bulgarian 5.56 AK mags that are actually a Gun Mag Warehouse exclusive. They did send these out to me for this video, so I gotta thank Gun Mag Warehouse for these 5.56 mags. They lock in real good, and then there's really no wobble. They're super sturdy, super secure, so whatever dimensions either the mag manufacturer or Palmetto State Armory came up with for this thing, it kind of rocks. I have no qualms. I have had really no malfunctions with it. When I did get these Bulgarian mags, the first couple times of inserting, you kind of had to really push them in. But after like a good 5 or 10 inserts, they kind of just, they just go in. If you're a man, you'll be able to just insert them and good to go. You know what I love about public shooting places? Mag dumping into range trash. But you know what's not trash? Xidax computers. Let me tell you about them. You see this piece of shit monitor laying around in the range for you to shoot? Unlike all the range trash you see here, Xidax only uses the best components for your computer, covered by a lifetime warranty. So that way your computer will actually never end up in a public range for all to mag dump into. Fun fact, I've actually been editing on Xidax computers since I started working for Garantham over 4 years ago. Now, whenever I think I have an issue and it's actually me just being a dummy, Xidax is always there for me. I always hit up the customer service, and it's always another red-blooded American speaking back to me and just telling me, hey, Micah, no, you actually just installed the wrong driver and fix your shit. So, since you've already learned there's pretty much nowhere else you should be buying your computers, use the coupon code Micah when checking out with Xidax, or click the link in the description if you guys want to explore the options and build your computer. I think they also have a page where I have my personal specs that you can simply click add to cart and purchase that computer. Thank you, Xidax, so much for sponsoring the channel. I love you long time. I will always love you. What's crazy to me is by modern day standard, I think the Krink has already been surpassed as far as a combat perspective by a lot of firearms, okay? I think most people, like I did a review on a 5-inch 5.56 and people were already mad enough that 5-inch 5.56 is the dumbest thing on the planet. And it very well might. And it very well, 300 blackout, 7.6 239, all these other rounds, even 5.45 makes more sense than an 8-inch 5.56. I mean, honestly, in my personal opinion, if you're looking at buying a Palmetto State Armory Krink, or any Krink in 5.56 for that matter, as your main duty weapon, I think you're probably looking for the wrong things in a combat rifle. However, there is a silver lining. Palmetto State Armory is coming out with a 300 blackout Krink. Now, it almost makes me angry that Palmetto State Armory thought I'd want the 5.56 Krink, because now I'm just upset that I don't have the 300 blackout Krink and I'm stuck with this thing. Just kidding. I really like this. Thank you for sending this out, Palmetto State Armory. Please don't be mad at me. I appreciate your generous donation to the channel.
Are you a whistleblower for Palmetto, dude?
Dan, I need help. All jokes aside, the 300 blackout Krink, I'm extremely excited for. I actually think it makes more sense than a 5.56 Krink. I think what makes even more sense than a 5.56 Krink, as far as guns that already exist, is the 5.45 Krink, the Krink that already exists out there. I think 5.45 and 7.6 239, both Russian calibers, perform better in shorter barrels than all the American counterparts. It's kind of just a thing. And so that's probably why the Russians had great success, especially with the poison bullet. If you haven't seen the Grand Thumb video on 7N6 or any of those crazy rounds, you do weird 90-degree angles in the bodies, I highly recommend going and checking that out, because 5.45 out of a 74 or a 74U is a lethal round. I think there is actual photos of the 74U running Putnik Zenitco suppressors and all that good stuff. So now what's cool about Palmetto State Armory's Krink is that they've actually made improvements upon the original Krink. The original Krink from Kalashnikov did not have this, nice thumb ledge, or I guess pointer finger ledge, on the safety. You'd have to reach all the way out, break fire control. You'd have to remove your hand, use your middle finger, flick up, and then shoot. With the Palmetto State Armory version, you can kind of just, it's way quicker, super convenient. That is like probably the biggest upgrade you could really do. I know there's like Krebs who have done like thumb safeties that are ambi, but that actually just reminded me. So my biggest gripe with the Krink in general, the AK-74U platform, any of these super small AKs, is your inability to aim the gun while getting a good grip. If I want to go like this with my thumb, I do not have sights. Your thumb will completely obscure both the front and rear sight posts. So what that means you have to do is you have to take your thumb and push it forward. Now, that seems like not a big deal until you're doing what I did and burning 300 rounds in 10 minutes, and your gun's so hot that the closer you get to the gas block, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter until you just accidentally touch the metal and burn the living piss out of your thumb, which is exactly what I did. So I ended up just taking my thumb off the gun and shooting, okay? Why did I do that? I always open my mouth. Could you think they could see that, Dan?
Might just be the wire stock.
Might just be the wire stock that we're gonna talk about right now. I SBR'd my Krink, and the reason I did that was because I think that the Krink is one of the most classic looking firearms imaginable. I think that every human being on planet Earth that's ever played a video game would look at it and be like, AKs, and goes, that is an AK-74U. If you played COD 4, which you did because you're American and you're a male and you're watching this channel, why did I say you're a male? That's because I look at my YouTube analytics and 99.8% of you are all males. So I'm sorry to the 0.02% females that are watching this channel. I'm already taken, ladies. Go watch makeup tutorials. It does use a Bulgarian folder or a Krink folder, just that kind of stamped, classic, normal AK, skeletonized, stamped steel triangle folder stock. You can close it, and then it latches on that little triangle right there. I don't know if you can see that, Dan. Can you see that? And then all you do is you push the triangle, and it releases your stock, and it locks in place. And PSA did a phenomenal job with the stock wobble. There's none. So So magwell, no wobble. Stock, no wobble. Grip, no wobble. Dust cover, super solid. Everything in classic short AK fashion. If you're ripping a drive-by with the boys, you can easily fold the stock and give it one of these deals. Pretty effective at shooting while folded. I don't know what else you're asking for while shooting with the stock folded. I think you got to target like 20 meters away. Stock's folded. Guys, PSA Krink is incredible. Buy one. You need one right now. It comes pre-installed with aimbots. That was crazy. That was not planned. The resilient suppressors, woo! So far I've had great luck with it. I do have some gripes with it. I wish that there was a better lockup. I really do wish there were notches in the rear, and I understand that notches don't necessarily mean the can's tight, but it at least prohibits it from backing off too far. I did have to keep tightening this thing throughout the day, so I'm going to be exploring options on how to mount this. I know that JMac Customs has AK muzzle devices that integrate with these kind of hubs. Even newer is from a company called Rearden. Rearden is who I run all my suppressor mounts with. They just came out with a mount called the Bliat, which I believe is a 24 mil AK muzzle device that then allows you to adapt it with an Atlas hub. I haven't tested it. Don't take my word for it. I will say, as far as recoil impulse, even suppressed, I feel like the Krink just has no recoil. Like, this gun shoots a lot softer than all the other AK rounds. Does that look like it's moving? It doesn't really like. Yeah, it's not moving.
It didn't move.
Guys, look, it's not moving. Now, I feel like the biggest downside of the Krink is heat. It gets hot really fast, right where your hands hold it. If you touch any of the metal going up front, it gets hot really fast. You will burn the absolute piss out of yourself. The pros of the Krink is you get to show up to the range with an AK-74U looking fly as because this thing is sick. And, I mean, nobody looks at a Krink and goes like, that's dumb. No, if you own a Krink, you're sick. So, finally, there is a Krink regularly in the American market, restocking. It's from Palmetto State Armory. What is my relationship with Palmetto State Armory? Palmetto State Armory pays me an average of $1.5 million a year. Okay, I have a Beverly Hills mansion that they afford for me in turn of positive reviews. They fund my kids' private school and my Bugatti Veyron.
I need a pay raise.
I do know the guys. They really don't seem to care whether I give their products a good or bad review. They just ask for reviews, and they send me the guns for them. I always respect that. I don't think I could squat. I don't think I could Slav squat for the rest of the video, Dan. Do you want to stand back up? They simply supplied the gun in exchange for a video, and they don't get to see the video before it comes out or anything like that. It simply comes out, and then if it's a bad video, who knows? Maybe one day they'll cut ties with me. So I guess the only other things that I can really talk about are Krink things, not necessarily Palmetto things. Krinks don't use your classic AK furniture. So if you did want to put like a Zenitco handguard on there, you need these Zenitco Krink specific handguards. You need the specific Krink dust covers, etc. These ones do come with side rails in case you want to mount red dots, recoil springs. Everything is a little bit different. Guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you and just level with you. This Krink is probably going to be a gun that I pull out a few times a year because I think it's cool and I think it's fun. I don't think I'm going to be grouping with it, taking it to combat. I don't think I'm going to be doing any of those kind of things with it. Not because Palmetto State Armory built a bad gun, but because I think even just stepping up immediately to a 10.5-inch Geisley URGI or anything is just simply more effective than owning an 8-inch AK platform in 5.56. If you are looking at the Palmetto State Armory Krink as your one and only firearm rifle purchase that you're going to defend your life with, I'd say there's probably guns that are going to do it better than this. I'm not going to say you can't do it with this. Okay, has given me no malfunctions whatsoever. It's been extremely reliable. It has shot all the 5.56 that I've thrown at it and functioned. I'm just saying you'll get better ballistics, better accuracy, better, you know, versatility with optics, with laser aiming module mounting, grips, flashlights, other things with other platforms. If you're in the camp of, I already own an AR, I want a fun gun, this is probably your next purchase. The PSA Krink is a blast. The PSA Krink is so much fun to take to the range, shoot with your friends. Everybody wants to shoot an AK-74U. Everybody wants to own one. It's a huge part of video gaming culture. I see no reason that this is not worth your money. I think that if the AK-74U is a gun that you've been wanting, then hats off to PSA. You guys finally made the Krink attainable for anyone who has a thirst for the Krink. The gun is everything I hoped it would be. It performed flawlessly for me. There's very long-term reviews coming out with other YouTubers. I'm not gonna spoil it. I may know a very popular YouTube gun tuber named Grantham who may be doing a 6,000 round burn down on one of these. So if you are looking for the data on how long will this last, is it combat ready, this video is not it. That video will be. Okay, we're gonna be taking a deep dive over there on that. The only thing that gets me more excited than this is the potential 300 blackout crank release from Palmetto State Armory. So keep your eyes out for that. I hope to be doing a video on that. Thank you for watching. I really just rambled about a Krink that I know nothing about for like 20 minutes. Thank you for subscribing to the worst YouTube gun channel on the platform. Just kidding, it's the best. In case you were wondering, this is a one-of-one clone of that Krink created by Russell's Custom Airsoft. So if you do want your gun cloned in airsoft form so you can actually shoot your friends with it, because shooting real people with fake guns is fun, hit up Russell's Custom. He makes guns with like recoil and all that good stuff.